in my last week at Cointelegraph, I'm going to announce that I'm looking for a job. But then someone else that got laid off 15 minutes after their call were posting on LinkedIn like, hey, friends, I need a job. And I was like, screw it, I'm going to do it too. So I posted on X and LinkedIn, and I dropped some stories on all my social platforms. And immediately I started getting messages. And the post ended up going kind of viral from my account, which at the time had 2.5 thousand followers. I now have 4, largely due to the post. It got something like 69,000 impressions, over 400 likes, and I got 17 interviews within 48 hours, which was nuts. Like, these are
Wow.
the stats. And so Pedro Gomez was actually one of the first people to talk to me. And the reason why I chose to work at WalletConnect was, one, it's a very solid, reputable company. It's been around since 2018. And if you're looking to build long term like I am, that is definitely a great place to be. And the other thing is that Pedro was a token 2049 in Dubai. So I got on the call and I said, why are you not out doing what you're supposed to do at these conferences and talking to me? And he was like, this is important. And by the way, he said to me, I read your post. I posted a notebook page where I wrote how I'm manifesting my job, what I want in a job, bullet point by bullet point, and what I bring to the table. And he said, okay, looking at the list, I can give you everything but an office. We don't have a physical office. Can you live with that? And I was like, come to think of it, I can.
Hi, and welcome to the Anyas Crypto podcast. Today, we're speaking with Dayana Aleksandrova. She is the community lead at WalletConnect, and she also previously worked as a multimedia content producer at Cointelegraph. And I recently met Dayana at a conference here in Lisbon, and Dayana really stood out to me because she was so bubbly and fun at hosting this panel where she got into, losing her job, then getting a new one, and it was just really animated. So I thought, okay, I got to get you on. And yeah, here you are.
Thanks so much for having me, Monica. And if you thought that was animated, I foresee that this will be a very animated conversation.
Yeah, you're really catch people's attention, I think also with your brutal honesty. So I really appreciate that. Yeah, maybe let's just start with, what do you do at WalletConnect and what is WalletConnect?
Oh gosh, I get that question all the time. So let me put it simply. And I'm pretty sure that the listeners of the podcast, if you're already in the space and blockchain, you've used it today. But anytime you are connecting a dApp, a website, anything to your wallet, you see a QR that pops up. It's blue. There's a blue logo, and that's WalletConnect. WalletConnect is sort of like Visa at checkout. You go to the store, you tap it, transaction happens. You don't need to know how that happens. They facilitate it, and we do the same in the blockchain space. Now, my official title is community lead at the WalletConnect Foundation, and that entails quite a few things. So obviously a lot of talking to people, catching up with our community. And in case you're curious, our community is not only users, it is also developers, builders, node operators, since you have a token, and wallets. So my role is I joke that it's to travel the world and yap about crypto, but kind of in a way. I go to various conferences with the team and the founder, Pedro Gomez. We organize events, activations online and offline. I help record video content, and I work on a lot of the campaigns that we have with partners. To give you a highlight, we recently had a walk 7,000 steps per day for 7 days and get a reward in the WalletConnect token. So I get to do really fun things with my day.
Wow, that sounds like such an awesome dream job. Are you happy you got a job? Because I remember you were just talking about, being so honest about, going through a little bit of a tough time and losing your job. So this sounds like it was all worth it.
I think so. And for a bit of context, I used to work at Cointelegraph, as you mentioned at the beginning, and I had the best boss on the planet. His name is Gareth Jenkinson. We're still very good friends. And it so happened that some budget cuts had to be made that were outside of his control. And unfortunately, my job was one of the first to go. And at first, I wasn't going to talk about it because I thought, okay, just going to DM some friends and put out some feelers, and maybe in my last week at Cointelegraph, I'm going to announce that I'm looking for a job. But then someone else that got laid off 15 minutes after their call were posting on LinkedIn like, hey, friends, I need a job. And I was like, screw it, I'm going to do it too. So I posted on X and LinkedIn, and I dropped some stories on all my social platforms. And immediately I started getting messages. And the post ended up going kind of viral from my account, which at the time had 2.5 thousand followers. I now have four, largely due to the post. It got something like 69,000 impressions, over 400 likes, and I got 17 interviews within 48 hours, which was nuts. Like, these are
Wow.
the stats. And so Pedro Gomez was actually one of the first people to talk to me. And the reason why I chose to work at WalletConnect was, one, it's a very solid, reputable company. It's been around since 2018. And if you're looking to build long term like I am, that is definitely a great place to be. And the other thing is that Pedro was a token 2049 in Dubai. So I got on the call and I said, why are you not out doing what you're supposed to do at these conferences and talking to me? And he was like, this is important. And by the way, he said to me, I read your post. I posted a notebook page where I wrote how I'm manifesting my job, what I want in a job, bullet point by bullet point, and what I bring to the table. And he said, okay, looking at the list, I can give you everything but an office. We don't have a physical office. Can you live with that? And I was like, come to think of it, I can. And so this is how I got my role. I also ended up speaking to so many different people that in fact, I decided yesterday that I'm building something new, and I haven't told it to anyone. So you're the first to find out, but I am going to put together a small labor of love side quest. I'm thinking of calling it Rolodex, and I'm going to pretty much set up a Google form where if you're looking for a job, you can fill it out with your name, your info, your resume or portfolio, send it to me. And then if you are hiring, you can do the same. So what I plan on doing is to manually matchmake people who are hiring and who are looking to be hired and kind of introduce them. I'm not going to be getting paid for this. This is not sponsored. It's just something that I plan to do in my free time, maybe once a week or so. And I just am really thankful for how things worked out for me. And I thought that this would be a nice little way to give back.
Well, that's so awesome. You're more than welcome to post in the Anyas group and see if you get any leads from there. And also, if anyone's listening to this, we have a group. So find a job, find Dayana through there. Well, you got to join first, but hopefully you will after this call. I think that there's so much power that lives in truth when you just say what's on your mind, or like, even if it's scary, sometimes it's just worth it because it just cuts through all the bullshit. Like, people can really feel the authenticity and also the courage and power that comes through that. So I really applaud you for, taking that jump. And I think more people can learn from that, me included.
Thank you. That's very generous of you to say. I think that when you're in that kind of position, and I'm originally from Eastern Europe and from Bulgaria, and I've been brought up with the values of you have to work to survive. So yeah, it felt a little bit vulnerable, but in the back of my head, I had my grandma, and actually I was visiting home. So I had my physical grandma here. She was like, have you found a job yet? Have you found a job yet? Every 3 hours for two
Oh, God.
days. Yeah. And then when I finally did find a job, I was like, yes, I did. And then she was like, okay, good. So that even if it feels scary to think about putting yourself out there, consider the possibility of just sitting by yourself and just like wallowing in this silence of nothing happening. That is far scarier than putting yourself out there.
Absolutely. Before we dive in deeper, I just wanted to check, like, who were you before Web3, and what is your background? Yeah, where do you come from?
Geez, okay, my background's a bit complicated. So I was born in Bulgaria, like I said, and when I was 16 years old, I got a scholarship to study in the US in New Hampshire for high school. And then I interviewed to go to college and I got a scholarship again. So I ended up studying in Connecticut at Trinity College for another 4 years. And after I graduated, I studied two very, very useless majors, very fun, but useless. International relations, which I found out I have nothing to do with unless I want to do it for the Bulgarian government, which I didn't want to. And Spanish. Actually, that one was useful, but not for work. And after I graduated, I didn't really know what to do, but I needed money. So I ended up working as a door-to-door salesperson for Verizon, which is a telecom company in the US, where I would literally go and knock on people's doors and be like, do you need to change your internet provider? And it was so awkward at first and it was really difficult, but I think it taught me a lot about how to relate to anyone really and how to take rejection. And after that, I ended up working at Bank of America for a little bit less than a year. I didn't like it very much, but it did introduce me to what the world of traditional finance is like. Now, after this kind of bout of work for a year, I ended up traveling and I thought, I'm going to go to Bali and I'm going to teach kids English and I'm going to vlog and it's going to be amazing. Except I went and I was like, oh my God, what have I done? I hated it. I hated it.
Wow.
I didn't hate Bali as such, but I was like, I'm not really a kid person at this stage of my life. And I don't really want to be here. And vlogging is also very hard and it doesn't make me any money. So after traveling briefly, I ended up in Barcelona where I worked at a startup. And about a year later, I decided to kind of like put the reset button on my whole life. I quit my job and I moved to a tree house in the Dominican Republic where I was a volunteer. They wanted me to take some pictures, write some blogs, do some bartending in exchange for free housing. And it was so beautiful. I was in a part of the DR called Samana where it's just like jungle and you get your little tree house and you've got a big bed and no walls, but you do have a bathroom. So it's nice, even if you're a little bougie. And I spent 3 summers being there. And in the meantime, I started working online and I worked for a travel startup called Matador Network for about 7 or 8 years. And on the side, I had my copywriting and coaching business. And in the last 2 years before I joined the blockchain space, I was a coach on Instagram and I used to coach
Mm.
people on how to get jobs and how to be confident on sales calls and how to freelance. And that was really, really fun. And it was 2023 when I went to my first Web3 event, actually NFC Lisbon, where we met. And I was so enthralled with it and with the people that I met that I decided I wanted to be a meaningful part of the space. So I took the Shifi course. And
Mm.
that's where I learned all the technical basics because I'm not really a technical person by nature. And then I just started applying for work. And to give you some perspective, for the first year and a half, not much happened. I was getting, I got a small gig here, talked to some people there, but within the time frame of July 2024, June 20th, 2025, I ended up working at a crypto PR agency. I ended up working at Cointelegraph, which is one of the biggest crypto media companies that there are. And I ended up getting my job at WalletConnect, which is an OG company since 2018. And so I want to show you how so much can happen so quickly in the span of only like 10, 11 months. So that's the
Absolutely.
story.
I think people don't realize how much the space is growing because it's been a bear market for so long. It hasn't got a lot of, headlines okay, the last 6 months, it has been in the media, but before that, but it's really grown so much and there's so much opportunity still. Even if you're not technical, there are, so many untechnical, so many other type of jobs such as community building, media, marketing, tons of different ways that you also can contribute. You just have to know a little bit about crypto, of course, but you don't have to be a technical person. As long as you understand basic concepts, also know who the players are, what to do and what to not do, you for sure can make a beautiful career in this space. But maybe you could talk about a little bit more about Cointelegraph. And I've definitely read so many articles there, so I'm sure I've read some of yours as well.
I
So yeah.
never wrote. I have not written a single article, which is actually what people kind of think. Like they're like, oh, Cointelegraph. I didn't write. Gareth hired me to be a video creator. And he was like, I want you to do kind of daily short videos on what's going on in the news. So some of these videos, one of my
Oh,
top
that's fun.
performers, so fun. My top performer was Vitalik Buterin adopts Moodang. And that was actually about 2 months after I had gone to a
Mm,
DevCon in Thailand and seen Moodang. So I had some footage
mm.
that I took, which was really great. But I was doing these videos and I was also an events person. So two of the highlights of my career there have to do with events. The first is when they sent me to the Formula One. That was so cool. I am not a Formula One girl. I had to
But
Google
now you are.
now I am. The night before, I had to Google what is Lando Norris. Like it was
Mm.
crazy. And then the next day, I was there for Cointelegraph, who was working with OKX, and they had sponsored McLaren, who Lando is the lead pilot for, and they won, and it was insane.
Oh,
And we
wow.
were all, this is like the most crypto moment. We were all watching the race from like a super yacht that had a movie theater on board. So that was one. And then the second experience I had probably 2 weeks before my layoff, or maybe 1 week, was we went to Paris for Paris Blockchain Week. So not only did I get to MC a full day at Paris Blockchain Week, I got to do a fireside chat, which was really cool. I got to go to one of Napoleon's old residences, and Cointelegraph threw one of their signature events called Longitude. And they had a lot of leaders, different leaders there. And my job was to kind of go around, take some videos, and then send them to the social team to post real time. And that ended up being such a success that everyone was super happy. I got incredible pictures. We had a view of the Eiffel Tower. I mean, the venue itself was astounding. They don't make art like this anymore. So my job at Cointelegraph was really, really fun. I am sad that it's over, but I'm very happy with my current chapter. And I think that if you're looking to grow in the space and stay in touch with what's going on, Cointelegraph is really good as a source for you to check out every single day.
Absolutely. I actually been to one of the Cointelegraph events in Korea a few years ago, and I met either the CEO back then or the one of the co-founders. So yeah, we also had a good chat. Yeah, I also wanted to get back to what drew you into Web3. Yes, there's a lot of opportunities, but when was that aha moment for you, or what made you think okay, this is actually really interesting? It's so different from anything else that's going on.
Yeah, so I was at the after party for NFC and I met this guy, Charlie. And it's crazy that since that night, I've not been able to find this person. And I'm like, did I imagine you? But he was telling me about his story, and he was a branding, creative marketing person. So it ticked the box of, oh, I'm not technical and neither is he. Maybe I could do this. And he was telling me about how he got excited by the freedom of the space, what people were building, the art. And on a personal note, he kind of shared with me how he was bullied for a long time in his life. And so was I, especially in high school. And that he had found these amazing friends in the space in Web3 because everyone was a lot more understanding. And basically, everyone's a nerd here, he said. And I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. I feel like I belong. And so after chatting with him, I was like, hey, maybe there would really be something for me to do here, because he was sort of an expander for me and showed me what could be possible. You know, having a career as a non-technical person, former nerd who can still have friends, and also traveling to all these amazing events. I think that people, and a lot of people do realize that we should be grateful. But if you think about it, every month there's a really cool event where you hang out with most of your friends. And I have not experienced this level of fun ever in any career, not since college, where all of your friends are on campus. So that's when I really wanted to become a useful person in the space. That's when I realized it.
Yeah, because it's so much about community when it comes to Web3. And a lot of these projects and really big companies these days, they all started with a few people, and you don't have to ask for permission for any platform to build anything. You literally can just get your friends or, some other people around and really build these super innovative products. Yeah, there's no gatekeeping really. And if you want to just contribute, you can. Hi friends, are you ready to unlock opportunities in crypto and understand Web3? Whether you're an absolute beginner or someone looking to level up your skills, our course, Blockchain and Web3 Pro, From Beginner to Expert, is for you. Lindsay and I have been in crypto since 2017. We've worked in marketing, business development, investor relations, and media. We've combined our expertise into one clear, actionable, and most importantly, chatty and fun course. I know Web3 can seem overwhelming, but the good news is you don't have to be a genius programmer to succeed. Our course makes it easy with step-by-step tutorials to guide you no matter where you're starting from. Here's what you'll learn. The basics of Web3 and why it matters. Blockchain, Bitcoin, Ethereum, how to use wallets. We'll explore NFTs and the creator economy, but also how to master Web3 marketing tools that drive results. We'll also get into advanced topics such as DeFi, DePIN, and all the innovations that basically matter. This course is perfect for marketers, project and community managers that want to break into crypto and get a job, for brands and influencers that want to incorporate Web3 into their business, but it's also for anyone exploring Web3 for the first time, how to tap into these incredible opportunities and make informed decisions. 2025 is the year of Web3. Don't miss out. Sign up today. Usually lots of DAOs that post, okay, we need this and this done. And if you do that, if you deliver, you then get paid from it. It's not like traditional system where it's from top to bottom, but it's the other way, from all bottom and then it grows upward. So I think that's the really main difference about Web 2 and Web 3.
I agree with that. And I think that it's very similar to freelancing if you really think about it, because I came with 2017 to 2023 at the time. That's 6 years of experience freelancing. And I used to go to Upwork and ProBlogger and websites like that. And it would be just like you said, kind of like bounties, although they didn't call them that. It's like, hey, I need someone to write me a 2,000 word blog on this and that. And I'm paying $60. Okay, great. And that's kind of the job. And when you're a member of a DAO, or like if you're a member, let's say, of a collective, I don't know if you've heard of Myosin. They're a marketing collective at a pretty high level. You can apply to join, and they end up announcing bounties and client projects that you can essentially put yourself forward for completing, and you get paid. So I think
Awesome.
it's just so much opportunity. And I think
We'll
when it
put
really
that link in the bio. We'll put the link underneath the podcast so people can find it easy.
Yes. And I think that when it really hit me was when I saw how different tokens, for example, if you take some tokens related to the news, they could 200x, like grow by 200% overnight. And this is so cringe. Don't judge me for this, but I put some money just for fun into the Trump coin before he got inaugurated. And I actually made I think I made like $1,000 or something off of that.
Right.
And then I lost half of it on the Melania coin because I got greedy. But the point is, it's so simple.
Isn't that everyone's fault when you get
I
greedy?
mean, yeah,
I
I
thought it
guess.
was a scam, so I saw it when it came out, like the
Yeah.
tweet, but I was like, oh, he got hacked. It's a scam. No way he's going to do that. But he
No
did.
way.
Yeah, but he did. So yeah, I also jumped into the Milan. I made like a little bit of money, but yeah,
But
nothing to brag about.
the point is, there's a rumor, there's a story in the news, and if you're quick on your feet, you can make a bunch of
Yeah.
money, and then you could cash out, which is what we should be doing, I think, not financial advice, instead of hodling a stupid coin. And then I don't know.
Depends.
Yeah, if it has potential, if it's got utility, yes. But let's say
Yeah.
that I made $400 on Trump, I could go and buy a new pair of sunglasses.
Exactly. And I think a good way to do it is to actually contribute and like earn your money, because then you're really seeing like, is this company or is this project actually doing things? And there's so many coins, there's so many projects, and it's so easy to launch a token these days. So like just gambling and buying something can be very dangerous. But if you're actually working in this space, you're saying, okay, this company is building. I got the token. Maybe I'm earning the token. Maybe I can buy a little bit more. And hey, what chain is it on? Okay, it's on Ethereum. Most things are on Ethereum, or maybe Solana. So that's how you actually learn and understand like what tokens you can hold. Not financial advice, but
Totally.
just FYI.
Always gotta say, I think that it feels a lot more enjoyable, and you'll probably agree that it's a lot more enjoyable when you actually work for your money, even though it's a bit old school, because that way at least you feel like you've done something. If you just put a bunch of money into a coin and you get lucky, like great. But if that's all you do, it's a really hard life and it's very stressful. And I think also looking into the founders, for example, a lot of people in Web3 are anonymous, but if that's the case, are they good communicators? What can they show you to get your confidence? And if they are a public person, it's really important. What do they do? Who do they hang out with? Where do you see them? It's always good to do your research before you end up putting a whole lot of energy into something.
Absolutely. So you mentioned WalletConnect also have a token. Can you talk a bit about it and why would it have a token? What's it good for? Yeah, maybe also a lot of ladies that are listening, they might just be entering the space. So yeah, Can you explain a
Like,
bit what's the good thing and positive thing about having a token?
for sure. So the WalletConnect token, and you can look that up, it's UCT. This is a token that is inherently created by the WalletConnect network. So it doesn't just belong to a group of people that work at the WalletConnect company. It's the node operators that facilitate these connections. It's the wallets that participate in the network. Obviously, it's the team. The WalletConnect token really originated as a way to expand the network because we are actually a company that provides a lot of utility when it comes to facilitating these connections. I have to check the exact numbers, but there are over 600 different wallets that use Wallet Connect. There are over 300 million connections that have been facilitated so far. And if you really think about that analogy that I gave earlier with Visa at checkout, this is technology that is here to grow with crypto itself. So this isn't some kind of a meme coin. This isn't some kind of a fad. We're really scrupulous with the way that we also talk about the token. So it's all very grounded. It's all very much focused on the tech, so that let's say your favorite tech company announced that there's a way for you to participate. So let's say for the ladies who are more familiar maybe with the stock market, which came a bunch before crypto. If Sephora were to launch a token and say every time women buy our products and other women hold the tokens, you get to participate in the network that is Sephora, where we work with all these beauty brands and sell all these products and everyone's happy. That's kind of the idea of having a token. Now, with the Wallet Connect specifically, there are 4 different utilities of the token. So I'll emphasize staking and governance. When you hold the token and you become a part of the Wallet Connect community, you actually get to make decisions within the network. So this is where voting and governance comes in. When there's a proposal to make any changes around the network to improve something, perhaps, you get to say, yes, that's a great idea. I vote for that, or no, I vote against that. And that ties in with the ethos that Wallet Connect has of the fact that we're all building together. So I would say that it's definitely a serious token. It's a serious project. It takes one look at our X and social media to see that, it's a serious project. And I'm just excited about it because it gives the sense and utility of ownership to so many people who want to help tech develop further beyond where we are now. So I am personally, without this being financial advice, very bullish on the space, very, very bullish and optimistic about Wallet Connect.
Yeah, I use it. I've used it so many times, especially like
Yes.
if you're out or at conferences. So it's a product that's, used very frequently in Web3. So, is there anything else that you think is different with being a community builder in Web2 and versus Web3?
Well, I actually had my own community in Web 2 before I switched sides, I guess. I was teaching courses online, so I would create courses and I would launch them, and I would be kind of me by myself with some help from my partner, Jay. And I would be the customer service center for everybody. And something that I noticed is that people, and again, the courses were on how to get a job and how to freelance. People were often very excited, but very afraid. So that's something that I noticed is a major key in Web 2, kind of getting over that fear and helping people get there. In Web 3, I would say people are still, excited to participate in something, excited to learn. They're curious. Sometimes people come in because they want to make money. It really depends on what the motivation is. But I think when it comes down to human nature, it's all the same. And this is maybe something that's only in my head, but I used to think that people who are in Web 3, just as I started getting into it, were so different and so special, kind of like aliens. And then I would meet people and they'd be like, oh yeah, I am, still using Instagram. I also shop at Sephora. I also get my shirts at Zara and go to this grocery store. And I'm like, we're literally the same person. You go to Pilates, I go to Pilates. So they're not really that different. They just chose to do a different line of work being in Web 3 versus Web 2. So I think for anyone who's excited to join the space and maybe is feeling like, oh, I don't know, they're so different, they're so advanced. No, it's people just like you. I was in Berlin Blockchain Week this past, God, when did I come home? I travel a lot, you guys. It was on this past Sunday, and one of the girls that organized the morning event at which I spoke has just joined the space 3 months ago. And now
Wow.
she's organizing a Web3 event for Web3 people confidently. And I was like, wow, I really admire that. More people should kind of go for it. So just know that Web3 is for everyone. You don't have to be any kind of special or advanced or genius or coder or anything like it.
You just can make faster transactions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if you're annoyed with your bank, if you're transferring money to another country, it can take, 2, 3 days, even a week sometimes. Well, with crypto, you can do it like that and it's
Mhm.
done. So, and you actually own your money yourself. It's not, well, you can basically hold crypto in 3 different ways. So one of the ways is, yes, you can have it on an exchange. So that's basically just like a bank. You can have it in a wallet. So everything that we're talking about here is through a wallet. You're interacting with blockchains, you're buying NFTs, you're swapping, you're doing DeFi, you're doing that through software wallet most of the time. And then there's also hardware wallets, which are a little bit more, wait, let me rephrase that, which are definitely more secure and they're harder to hack. So if you're doing transactions on a software wallet, you should just hold like a few hundreds or, tops a few thousand. If you get more than that, you should transfer your money into a hardware wallet because hacks do happen. Yeah. So just a little warning there that yes, DeFi is amazing and all of this gives a lot of power to people, but with that also comes responsibility. So you have to learn what to do and what to not do. So, being really safe when it comes to clicking on things online and, writing down your seed phrase, really not storing it online, but having it on a piece of paper in a safe or somewhere that you make sure that no one else can find. So it's new, it's innovative, but there is a little bit of a learning curve. But as Dayana said, there are many places where you can learn about it on YouTube. Here at the Anyas, follow us for, all the insights and all the scopes as well. So yeah, there are more and more people creating content and yeah, just like at Cointelegraph as well. Okay, so I just wanted to talk more about you and well, first of all, like, what does this kind of average day look like for you with Wallet Connect?
Oh, okay. So let me walk you through a day where I am not at a conference because when I'm at a conference, it is like nuts. I have been spending a lot of time in Bulgaria. I usually am nomadic around Europe, but this is more or less my time zone. And I wake up around 7 a.m. on this time zone here, which puts me 2 hours ahead of my whole team, which I love. So the first thing that I do is I wake up, I have an espresso. I'm a coffee snob, so I have a really good machine and I have this coffee that I import from
Cheers.
Germany. Yes, cheers to that. Thank you. So I would have probably a total of 4 espressos in the morning before I do anything else. But
What?
yeah,
Are
yeah,
you
my tolerance
okay?
is sky high by now. I would have my espresso and I would check what's going on. The first thing that I do try to do, however, before checking my Telegram, my email, is I would drink my coffee and I would watch like a 10-minute vlog of someone traveling somewhere nice. So, for example, now, because I'm going to Cannes in France on Friday next week, I am watching Cannes vlogs to see what I can do when I'm there. So it's important to me to start my day not looking at work stuff, at least the first 10, 15 minutes. So I have my coffee. I sit at my morning desk. I have two desks. If you're watching this on video, you're seeing me at my afternoon desk. I watch my vlog. Then I do a Duolingo lesson. I'm learning Japanese right now. And then I get to my work. So I'll check my email. I'll check my Telegram for about an hour, get back to people. Then once the coffee is fully hitting, I'll go train either at the gym or run outside if the weather's good. And then I'll get to my desk. I work around 9 to 5, I would say. Sometimes I forget to take a walk or a break, which is not great. I don't advise that. But then sometimes I can go out of my house and work from my phone while I'm walking around. There's a river by my house. And around 7 p.m. here time in my time zone, I'm finished. And so I would go for a walk. I will have dinner and I go to bed really early. I go to bed around 8:30 if I can, and I read a book. I'm obsessed with, anime, manga, that kind of thing. So I've just finished the Apothecary Diaries. It's really good. Other than that, I read a lot of Murakami so you can get the Japanese theme. And I go to sleep pretty early and I wake up and do it all the next day. I think the key to having a good routine is to wake up at a time where you don't feel like you're rushed for things. So when I had a job at a PR agency in crypto, they were based in Los Angeles and I was based in Europe. So my day wouldn't start until 3 in the afternoon. And that wasn't ideal because I would kind of be tired from living life until 3 and then I
Mm.
have to get online. With WalletConnect, I really like that the time zone is super, super close to where I am. So I wake up at a time that makes me feel like I'm not rushed. I like a small morning. For those of you watching on video, I'll show you my flowers. I have flowers all over my house and I like to kind of have that space. I go to Pilates sometimes. This morning I went after my morning run. And then when it comes to doing work and being on all these different platforms and talking to people, it's really important to be organized. I'm pretty disciplined. I don't like to miss anything. So I'll go follow up on conversations. I would make sure to save things to see later so nothing gets lost. But my team's really amazing. Everyone is so quick to respond. In fact, I make the founder and director of the WalletConnect Foundation, Pedro, I make him do a lot of work. When I need something, I'm like, hey, I need you to do XYZ for me. Deadline's 2 hours from now. Can you deliver? And he's like, yeah, I can. So I think that we've got a really great dynamic within the team. Everyone's very proactive and very friendly. And there's a great work-life balance. I've never been overstretched to work more than my daily hours. I've
That's
never had to
awesome.
work weekends. It's a really great company.
Yeah. Do you have some personal mantra or philosophy, something that, yeah, you said you do Pilates. Is there anything else that you want to share to kind of,
Yeah, honestly, walking. I walk 20,000 steps per day. And actually, if you think about it, it's not that much. It's totally doable. If you go for a 30-minute jog, that's already like 5,000 steps. And whenever I can, let's say that I'm checking emails, I prefer to do that walking around my apartment building by the river than to sit at my desk. I
Mm.
think that walking is the best thing you can do because within 5, 10 minutes of walking, you feel like your body gets lighter and the stress is kind of melting away. It's just very simple to forget. So walking and movement is definitely one of my favorite things. If you are stuck to your desktop, laptop, and you only have 10, 15 minutes and you want to do something, I did sign up recently for a platform called the Pilates class. You get a 7-day free trial so you can try some of the little workouts and it just makes you feel really tapped into your body, which I think is really good. And just remembering to get up from your chair and do a couple squats or something. Otherwise, it could be really painful.
Absolutely. Yeah. I also go on walks maybe 2, 3 times per week. So yeah, it's also one of my preferred ways of staying grounded. I also do a lot of yoga and I try to meditate every day. So
Ooh,
yeah,
love that.
recommend. Just before we sign off, I wanted to just if you could share like 1 or 2 achievements that you're really proud of. And yeah, it could be professional or personal.
I would say the first one is the fact that I ended up applying for that first scholarship that I ever got at 16 years old to go to high school in the States because I applied to 2 different places and they both rejected me. And I've been manifesting this since I was 8 years old. And I had a tutor, she was teaching me English, and she's the one who kind of put the idea into my head. And I thought that after I got rejected for the second time, like this was it. And then there was a third organization that came out of nowhere and they were like, hey, we've got one scholarship that's full because I couldn't afford to travel and one person can win that. So I went to the interview and I remember sitting in a circle with 5 or 6 other people. And I was really, really shy when I was young. Like I was pretty badly bullied. I think that's why. And I was just sitting there and I spoke really good English and yet I wasn't saying anything. And at some point, a voice in my head said, hey, listen, people are talking. You're sitting here like a fucking rock saying nothing. If you do not open your mouth right now and start speaking, you have lost this. And then your whole life loses meaning. Yeah, it was like really intense. So then I opened my mouth and they couldn't shut me up. And then I got the scholarship because they were like, hey, you speak English really well with understanding, not just like phrases that you've learned. So I got the scholarship and that ended up unlocking this completely different multiverse for my future that I never would have had if I didn't push myself those couple seconds to make that decision. So that's number one. Honestly, I know it's recent, but I think that whole job post was a really big achievement because I had never had content go viral, like meaningfully. I think years ago, I had one video go mini viral on Instagram, but it was kind of due to the algorithm. I don't really know. But just getting these comments, and ever since that post, which was in April, that I've been going to conferences, even in New York, like I would have people walk up to me and be like, "Are you that girl? I've seen that post."
I
And I'm like,
saw
"No
it.
way." Yeah. And I was speaking with the founder of POAP, who's a super OG in the space, Patrizio, in Berlin this week. And he was like, "I saw the post and I was so rooting for you." And I was like, I can't believe that people actually saw that and that it made a difference. And I think what's even better is that a couple of girls reached out and DM me and were like, "Hey, I'm looking for a job also. I love how you did that. Is it okay if I copy the structure of your post and adapt it from me?" And I was like, "Yeah, just run with it." And actually, one of them messaged me that she got a social media job 2 weeks later. And I think that's really, really cool because it proves that it's not a fluke and that it actually works.
Mm,
So I'm really proud to have had the guts to put myself out there and to
yeah.
also have helped other people.
Yeah, exactly. Is there anything else you want to share with women just getting into crypto that, from your experience?
When it comes to women specifically, I would say one of the reasons why I have been successful in crypto and I felt good is that I started my career by joining a group for women. So if I had been on my own or if I had tried to fit into these boxes of just men, much like my female friends who started in the space earlier than me, I don't know if I would have lasted. So having a really great group with Monica here, exploring other spaces like, for example, She-Fi or Boys Club, which is ironically a club for women, the Bear Baddies, as well as the female community. Just all of these female communities could be really, really great for you to make you feel like you're not alone and like you belong in the room.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. I was kind of lucky because I started in Asia. And I got to say, even though Asia is like really patriarchal, when it came to crypto, there was a lot of women in crypto, and especially at conferences. And I do see it's changing, and I'm so happy about it because now when I go to conferences, there's tons of women, but still we need more. And yeah, how do you see like the crypto space changing over the next few years?
Well, I think that one major change we'll see will be due to institutional money, because I think the reason why this supposed bull cycle that we were supposed to have this year has been so volatile and so different is that a lot of institutional investment came in. The election of Donald Trump as US president also made a huge difference. And I think that institutions will reshape the way that the space operates. So it's kind of a catch-22 because we do need that funding and we do need an inroad with the systems that already exist. On the other hand, it goes against a lot of the values of the crypto space. So I think it's really important to see how we can work together with institutional investors without letting them completely take over what we've built and just run with the tools. So I don't know what's going to happen. I'm looking forward to seeing. And I think that it's going to be, on the topic of women, even more accepted for women to join the space. And what I would love to see is at least like an even 50-50. I don't know if that's kind of like a pipe dream. I hope
No
that,
way. It's going to happen.
I hope so.
Absolutely. Manifesting.
Yes,
Come
man.
on. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. And where can people find you?
Yeah, thanks for having me. The best place to find me is on X or Twitter. My tag is D_centralized. That's DEE_centralized with a Z. And yeah, come say hi if you heard this episode.
Awesome. And for sure, we're going to put all the links here so people can find you easy. Is there anything else you want to share?
I think the one thing I want to leave women with is that very often you could have exactly what you want, but you have to ask for it. There is this cat gift that I love. It's a small black and white cat, and it goes like, "Can I has?" So that's my approach to anything. Before I got my job, my first couple jobs in Web3, I used to go up to people at events and chat with them. And if we got along, I was like, "Hey, are you hiring? Can I have a job?" So I think that getting what you want is a lot simpler if you only get used to doing this "can I have" thing. And the way that I practice is I'd go to Sephora and I'd be like, "Can I have some samples?" And then they'd be like, "Okay." And if they say no, I'm like, "Please, can I have some samples? I'm a regular here." If you go to a coffee shop and you're like, "Hey, can I have a pastry?" Just try to get as many free little things as you possibly can to get you to practice this, because it could be very intimidating. Because once you get good at the "can I has," life's going to be so much easier.
That's such a good advice. And especially for women, I don't think it comes quite as easy for us to ask for things because I guess just history has not been kind, but that is changing. And I think it's time for us to grab the opportunity and just it's up to us to change how the future is going to look. So ask for things and get them.
Amen.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure.